Hot takes from Saturday night's main event, and boy howdy, oh wow, yeah, I don't think a lot of you enjoyed the show, which then puts me in this very awkward position in that I'm about to read a lot of hot takes on a show that nobody enjoyed that I enjoyed. So this should be fun. Yeah, like apparently nobody liked it. Nobody, well, very few people liked it, and if you go to my review, I actually gave it an 8.8 out of 10, so this will be a very fun hot take video. We'll talk about the awesome Braun Strowman getting annihilated by the more even awesome Jacob Fatu in a second, but let's start with the main beef. I'm looking here, we got the DM link. That was lame that not one title changed hands. So that is the main complaint of the show, it seems like. Everybody's saying, I keep hearing and seeing the buzzwords, glorified house show, titles didn't change hands. And I do understand it. So on the surface level, I get it. I hear you. But I guess maybe I come from a different time. So I've been a wrestling fan for 35 years, right? More so. At WrestleMania 41, it'll be 36 years because I started at WrestleMania 5. And I just, I come from a time where I didn't need to see title changes, or I didn't get title changes just on a whim. Plus, I also lived through the Attitude Era where I did see title changes happen all the time. So I can see the value in both. And I'm not saying I want 1,316-day world title reigns and 666-day intercontinental title reigns, but I am saying we do have to let these guys and girls hold the belts for a little bit in order for it to mean something when they do change hands. And yeah, it would have been cool. I thought Sheamus was going to win tonight. Look at my prediction video. I thought for sure Sheamus gonna win at Saturday Night Main Event, but I was wrong. But it didn't ruin it. Him losing didn't be like, oh god, this sucks. I hate this show. It's a glorified house show. I should be watching something else or doing something else. I could be scrolling on TikTok right now, but instead I'm watching no titles change hands. And it's like, I don't know. Let's look at it. Let's break it down. Braun Breaker has held the title, since SummerSlam? So he's had it for 7 months. But in that 7-month time period, he actually lost it one time, and then it went to Jey Uso, and then he won it back. So the Intercontinental title has changed hands twice in a 7-month time period. Rhea Ripley literally just won the title at the beginning of the month. So she's only held the title for 4 weeks tops, not even. So for her to lose the title would have been like, I don't know, that would have probably devalued it. Plus, it would have devalued her storyline from last year in that, I agree, it went too long. However, it did go so long that she needs to at least hold the title to WrestleMania. And then what else? We got Gunther. Gunther, he's also held the title since SummerSlam, and so he's had it for 7 months. Now, I will admit, there was a period where they totally took a dump on Gunther's character with the Damian Priest storyline. Plus, for about 2 weeks going into Netflix and 2 weeks out of Netflix, they didn't have their world champion. That actually devalued his title reign, in my opinion. But that aside, Gunther is a character who, for his entire career, has had in the WWE, has held a championship 80% of his tenure in WWE. So he's actually a character that is written to actually need to hold titles for an extended amount of time. So I don't actually mind Gunther holding the title for a decent length because it makes sense. So in my mind, everything makes sense here that the titles didn't change. And I got people literally saying, this show sucked because no title changed hands. And it's like, if a title would have changed hands, would it have been better? If the Motor City Machine Guns would have beaten DIY for the tag team titles, would that have made everything else okay? Would that have made Jey Uso losing okay if the Machine Guns had beat DIY on this event? We just needed to see a title change. Is that it? Let me know in the comments below. I'm asking very, very seriously because I want to know, is it just the title change that just totally ruined it for you, because it didn't ruin it for me. And I'm not trying to get on anybody, because you know what? I'm the one in the minority here. I'm the one who loved the show while no one else did. So I'm trying to understand what is going on here. And at the end of the day, Triple H needs to listen to the majority. Now, I'm not saying he needs to change everything. Sometimes the majority is wrong, but you should always be listening to what the majority of fans are saying. And if I'm just in the minority and just loving everything that Triple H is feeding me right now, then hey, you know what? I want to listen too. I want to see your perspective and where you're coming from. So let's keep going, though. Let's keep going. Acknowledge LFS Solo. Jacob proved he is both Godzilla and King Kong by the vicious beating he gave Braun. That bro was bleeding. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. I did have a little bit of a beef on this match, because I think Jacob should have just got the pin and then continuously beat down Braun Strowman. I think that we didn't need to protect Braun from a pinfall, but at the end of the day, the result of him just being completely decimated, it got the point across. So while it could have been a little bit better, it was still good enough to really put over the fact that Jacob is King Kong and Godzilla combined. Yeah, Ducky DeVille also, Jacob Fatu, the next big thing. Godzilla, King Kong, give this man all the belts. Yeah, give Jacob Fatu all the belts. Roman Reigns right here, Jacob Fatu. Yeah, people loving, that's the comments. Either you're really happy about the Jacob Fatu segment, or you're really mad that no titles changed hands. Thank God Braun Strowman didn't have a title on him, because then everyone would have just hated this outcome. Damian King, holy crap, now that's how you book a monster threat. Jacob Fatu is going places. Yeah, that is how you book a monster threat. I will say this, though. Southpaw Jimmy did bring up a valid point with the whole Jacob Fatu stuff. Trying to recreate Braun Strowman's breakout moment with Jacob Fatu fell flat. He didn't need the pop anyways, and the moves to the camera work just wasn't on the level. So yeah, it was just kind of a copy-paste of what Bronson Reed did to, I would say, Seth Rollins, even though Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman had a banger of a match, but it was more of just let me completely decimate and make a veteran bleed. So it wasn't definitely a callback to that, but I still thoroughly enjoyed it and thoroughly glad it happened. But I do get what you're saying. Plus the camera work was a little it could have been better. KB, so yet another Saturday Night Main Event and no title change. I'm beginning to get mad. The booking is so lazy, I'm over it. So there you go, another person, KB, actually member of the channel, and you know what? We can disagree on things and still find value in each other's opinions. I see what you're saying. You are heard, and I do get it on a certain level, but as I said earlier, so basically, I'm just going to read off comments about, people being mad about the no title change. I do want everyone to see that you're not alone here, and that a lot of people are actually upset about it, but I won't just regurgitate my opinion in different ways like I usually do. So I'll just end up reading. If you don't like that there was no title change, I'll read your comment and I'll move on, and that's because mostly I addressed it in the beginning. But I will say this, that if you were upset about no title changes on Saturday Night Main Event, you won't be upset on this channel, because there's about to be a title change very soon once I hit 10,000 subscribers. Well, this title will change from my hands to potentially your hands. All you got to do to get this title is comment below, be a subscriber to the channel, hit the bell notification, and maybe give a thumbs up to the videos, because I'm trying to get the engagement up, because I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers so I can give away the belt on my path to become a full-time YouTube content creator for the wacky world of wrestling. I would appreciate the help. All you gotta do, comment, subscribe, and you can win the belt. Free shipping, free everything. This is not a joke. I'll live stream the giveaway. Okay, so let's get back to these hot takes. Tis Mickey. I actually thought that Saturday Night Main Event was much better than the first one. So did I. I still think it's kind of pointless, but it had better moments, and seeing HBK give KO Sweet Chin Music gave me a great laugh. All right, so there you go. We have somebody who was on the mindset, kind of in the middle of me and everybody who thinks it was pointless, saying that while maybe it was a little on the more pointless side, or you could skip it, I still found value and enjoyment in it, which is, so I do like that comment right there, Tiz Mickey. I'm glad that you still found enjoyment in it. And honestly, the way, it's funny though, because you liked the Sweet Chin music. I wanted KO to get some heat and pile drive Shawn Michaels, but, you know, I'm glad you like that though. I can see why though. Shawn Michaels is everybody's, you know, he's a hero from our past. Very nostalgia. Ducky Devon, Nia versus Rhea was a very good match. It stole the show, and personally, I think it was the match of the night. Honestly, I think it was Nia's match of her career. That match was amazing, and it was one of Rhea's best, if not her best. And I know it's sacrilege considering that she fought Charlotte Flair in 2 WrestleManias, but I really dug that match. In fact, it set the bar, and nobody really obtained it. Even though I enjoyed every other match, I was just so amazed and floored by Nia and Rhea. Great match. Thank you for the hard work right there, because I was so entertained with that match. Donatello Leonardo, I think WWE proved that Rhea can work as a babyface if you give her the right opponent. She actually was able to sell like a babyface. Yeah, 100%. I loved this Rhea Ripley. I've been very, very hard on Rhea Ripley. I don't think I've said anything really good about Rhea Ripley in, I don't know, since probably after WrestleMania last year, because I don't like the way that how she's been portrayed, and I loved her last night. If we could continue that, the problem is, it's just so hard. Through no fault of her own, Rhea Ripley is just a very dominating, powerful, towering female wrestler, and there's not many people that she can work as a face with. I hope after this program with Nia, maybe a program with Becky, and maybe a program with Charlotte Flair, that she goes back to being a heel. Because as a heel, you can be as towering and menacing as you want. But she did an excellent job tonight, and he loved Jesse's commentary. I think that type of heel commentator is missing from today's product. Yeah, totally missing. The closest thing we have to a heel commentator like Jesse is Corey Graves, and even Corey Graves wasn't so in your face and just like, Jesse the Body was getting on people's nerves. He was definitely getting on people's nerves. I think in a good way, and not the, shut this guy up, but in a way that you were trying to be like, no, that's not correct. You're trying to like argue with Jesse, and that's what a good heel commentator would do. You don't want them to go away. You want to argue with them why they're wrong, and that's what Jesse was doing last night. I love Jesse. He hasn't lost a beat at all. Damian King 42. Holy crap! Now that's how you book a monster threat. Jacob Fatu is going places. He's going to the moon, all the way to the moon, baby, because Jacob Fatu, like, shoot for the stars, man. You are it. And then he says, imagine I Show Speed in the Royal Rumble match. I want to see it, honestly. I know I Show Speed, he's a YouTuber. I actually don't know who he is, honestly, and I know that he's been invited to Royal Rumble, and I'm jealous of the guy. Man, could you imagine if someday, somehow, Triple H invited me? Nah, I'm too old for that. I'm too old, probably, but that would be cool. That would be cool. Man, I should have started YouTube 20 years ago. Was YouTube around 20 years ago? I think, well, almost. I think, was it 2006 when YouTube started? Man, I don't even want to think about it. I'm kicking myself for not starting this channel sooner. All right, is he gonna win it here? It would have changed the landscape, but I think, wait one more week. The landscape will be different next week after the Rumble. Come at me, ow! Jay losing the title match. I feel like this is the beginning of a big heel turn. Nah, I don't see it. I mean, it could create a story beat of him not winning the big one, but then again, I think they're doing that with Sheamus not winning the Intercontinental title. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe it does. I just don't think it's happening yet. A heel turn just, I don't know. What would he do as a heel? Just be more vicious? Maybe trying to get a title? I would fear that if he just turns heel to get a title, they'll do what they did with Chad Gable. Chad Gable turned heel, gets in one good program, and then, well, he just doesn't win and keeps going. So, I don't know. I don't think it's worth losing that crowd entrance and the merch sales to turn Jey Uso heel just yet. Roman Reigns, acknowledge me. Goldberg versus Hulk Hogan? ? This is probably in relations to at Monday Night Raw. They're in Georgia. They're in Georgia, and Hogan was supposed to appear tonight. He didn't. We could probably get an appearance from Goldberg tomorrow. And what if they recreated their Georgia Dome match where Goldberg becomes champion? No, don't want it. Plus, Hogan, his knees are shot. The dude can't even walk. Plus the dude's getting booed out of the building. I don't even want to see Hogan doing promos anymore. The J-Link. Remember, everyone, there is one true heavyweight champion of the world. His name is Gunther. There's one true undisputed champion as well. His name is KO. All right, so it looks like he recognizes KO as the undisputed champion. Well, we'll find out next week, and it looks like you should be happy that Gunther is still your champ. TTJC, honestly, the J loss was a bad call. Did you hear how dead the crowd went? I kind of feel bad for the people that were so hype. I do feel bad. I will say this: there is a pro to Jay losing, and the fact is, I never thought in a million years they would let a heel be the final victory on a Saturday night's main event. So every Saturday night main event going forward, I won't know who is going to win. In that, well, they let Gunther win that one time. They let the crowd go home sad that one time. Now, there was probably a dark match after that, but for the TV audience, we got to see a heel just triumphant. And I remember being upset about that at WrestleMania 2000 when I was like, wait a second, Triple H, the bad guy, ended up winning the main event? You're not supposed to do that, but it does allow a ripple effect to every pay-per-view after that. I never knew if the heel or the face was going to win, because if you never let the heel win the final match, where's the stakes? So that's my counter to that, but I do get what you're saying. You kind of want to let the fans go home happy. And no, Saturday Night Main Event is more hyped Raw SmackDown, though it's an event you can miss, and you wouldn't miss anything important happening. Well, you know what? I think the Jacob Fatu thing, destroying Braun, was pretty important. I think the rebuilding of Gunther was pretty important. I think Sheamus losing and now just being totally crushed and defeated and not knowing what to do with the next stage of his career, I think that was kind of an important beat. So I don't know. I think was it ground shaking like a KO pile driver and putting Randy Orton in the hospital? No, but there were story beats. The smartest idiot. I'm so glad they booked Fatu as a monster, and I wish it was a little more unpredictable, but great show overall. Fatu chants inside were loud. Yeah, the crowd was on Fatu's side. Hard not to be. Fatu is just, he's got it. He's got that it factor. Hard not to be. Jamie K, I understand commercials are a part of life, but seriously, I timed it. They only showed about 2 minutes of wrestling during the main event before going back to commercials. Okay, so that's a fair statement. I did say a couple times, you know what, we just got to deal with the commercials. So yes, they are a part of life, but if you're going 2 minutes of wrestling before you go to another commercial at the main event, well, just space it out a little better. The main event should be, I don't know, maybe give us 15 minutes of, like, at 9:45 have your last commercial. I think there's a happy medium here that we can get commercials, but you can't interrupt the flow of matches. Chelsea Silk, Jey Uso should have won. It would have been an amazing moment. I kind of my heart wanted Jey to win, but he didn't, so I get where you're coming from. Heavy Cloud, the show was not worth pushing the Rumble back to February. So I don't think they pushed the Rumble back to February because of Saturday Night's Main Event. So last year, it was super cold at WrestleMania Night 1 that they literally decided to stop having WrestleMania so early in the year. So by pushing WrestleMania back, they probably decided to push Royal Rumble back so it wasn't like such a gap in between those two. So I think it had nothing to do with Saturday Night's Main Event. Raphael at Air, Sheamus should have won the IC belt. Braun is having a Brock Lesnar schedule, which isn't cool. I don't like that the champions aren't being present, and honestly, I think that's a Triple H thing. If Sheamus won the title, I think we'd see less Sheamus. For some reason, Triple H just doesn't like to have the champions show up a lot. I think he thinks that it makes them like the championships worth more. I disagree. I think the champions showing up more and more and more makes it worth actually even more so. Roman Reigns was an anomaly, all right? Don't apply Roman's schedule to every champion because it won't work. It actually makes them look weaker. It was part of Roman's character. Just like I said earlier, part of Gunther's character is that he needs to be champion. It was part of Roman's character that he didn't need to be present. So don't apply those things to everybody. Don't say, well, that champion has to be champion because Gunther needs to be champion. No, don't say that that champion needs to be gone all the time because Roman needed to be gone all the time. They're different people, different champions, different scenarios. WTF patch, nothing exciting. Everything went as I thought it would go. I'm just waiting for the Rumble at this point. Well, I don't know. There have been times where I've completely called a pay-per-view, a PLE. I said, this person's going to win, this person's going to win. I think actually my SummerSlam review, I think I called it. I got 10 out of 10. Every match was I called it, right? I even called Roman Reigns returning, and yet I still enjoyed SummerSlam. If it makes sense to the story, I don't mind predictability. I don't want to just change titles because, ooh, it's a little too predictable. Ha ha ha, let's change it up. No, I'm not a big fan of that. That's what Vince Russo did in the WCW hot shining days of the Attitude Era. He actually even did it with the Attitude Era sometimes, and I was like, not a big fan of that. So, anyways, yep, you know what? Let's just wait for the Rumble. I'm sure we'll all be on the same page by then. Number 2, Jacob Fatu told Bronson Reed to hold his moonsault and showed him how to make Braun bleed and get over with the crowd while doing it. Okay, so yeah, Jacob Fatu manhandled Braun Strowman like no one else. Not even Brock or Roman could manhandle Braun Strowman that way, and not even Bronson Reed, who Jacob Fatu kind of mimicked. And then number 3, Jay versus Gunther was the match of the night. They have great chemistry in the ring. Put respect on main event Jay Uso's name. So it looks like even in defeat, Raphael Adair got some props going for Jay Uso. Jamie K and Kayfabe, Shawn Michaels' cameo made no sense. He didn't do anything that Aldis didn't try, and he literally said sign it, and Cody did. KO yapped a bit and signed. Why did we need Shawn? We didn't. We didn't need Shawn. He was there so he could get the super kick, but I honestly think he should have been there to get heat for KO. Plus, there was supposed to be an addendum. They were supposed to add a stipulation, and they just just completely blew through that and forgot about it. So I don't know what that was all about. At Static Z, I feel like we could have had Jay pick up the title here against Gunther. He could have won it back maybe at Elimination Chamber or a random episode on Raw, but it would have been nice for Jay to have a moment with the crowd like when he won the IC title. Yeah, it would have been nice to have that moment. However, I think people would have complained. They would have been like, I like that Jay won, but I don't want him to have very short title reigns just for him to give the title back. So I think it's like, darned if you do, darned if you don't, because what are we going to have? Are we going to have John Cena win the title off Jay Uso? People would be mad about that too. No, if John Cena wins the title off Gunther, it's going to be a huge freaking deal, and I'm beginning to think that's where we're going with it. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. They probably shouldn't have put Jay Uso in that position. Jay Uso is so loved by so many that it's really leaving a bad taste in people's mouth that that's the last thing they saw on Saturday Night Main Event, and I do get that. And so those are your hot takes for Saturday Night's Main Event. Sorry I didn't really agree with all of you, but hopefully you're still subscribed to the channel, even if it's just to win the belt. You'll like me better after Raw, I promise you. Usually we're on the same page, just not today. But you know what? This channel is not an echo chamber, and I appreciate that you all feel so welcome in sharing your opinions with me. I am truly blessed to have a community like you all out there. Guys, girls, have yourselves a great day.